please feel free to unmute yourselves. Um, and we're going to start actually on our side. So, good morning, Patrick. So, if you have one of your blocks, or if you have a pillow and you want to use that as a pillow, or if you have a blanket and you want to use that as a pillow, we're going to start on our side. And it might be good to have something underneath our head. And if you have something underneath your head, good morning, Laura. Laura, do you have a thera-band? Okay, can you go grab your thera-band, please? Patrick, I'm guessing you don't have a thera-band. Okay. All right, so we're going to start by lying down on our sides. It does not really matter which side you have down because we're going to do both of them. So you can either extend both of your arms in front of you if you'd like. We're going to start with a 90-degree flexion at your hips. So make sure your knees are bent at 90 degrees, your hips are bent at 90 degrees. And then the first thing that you're going to do here is I want you to notice what's happening on your underwaist. That's the waist that's touching the floor. See if you can pull it up and away from the floor so that you can run your opposite hand underneath there. So it's like a little tunnel. You want to notice and see if you can find that little tunnel. And if you can keep that little tunnel going underneath your waist, fantastic. That top hand can come in front of you as a support. Maybe you just bring it on top of your top hip. It's totally up to you. Then you're going to flex both feet and you're going to lift your top knee about 2 to 3 inches away from the bottom leg. And you'll just flex through the foot. You'll start to engage the back of the hips and then draw that knee towards your chest without losing your underwaist. So the underwaist hasn't dripped to the floor, it's still lifted up. And then you're going to start to externally rotate your top leg. So now your knee is rolling up to the sky, but you haven't lost your underwaist and your pelvis hasn't shifted back. There we go. Start to internally rotate your leg. So now it's going to be parallel. And then draw the leg back behind you. Draw your heel close to your butt, still flexing through your foot. Fantastic. Now we're going to make that as a circle. So you'll draw the knee forward once again towards your chest. Then you'll start to externally rotate the thigh. Pay attention to your underwaist. Then internally rotate that thigh. Start to draw the leg back behind you. Draw the heel towards your tuchus. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. And then come forward once again. And you'll do this on your own. And again, you're paying attention to that underwaist. So the front ribs are coming in. It's really going to impact or maybe limit how big of a circle you can make with that top leg. And it's also going to enforce or encourage you to actually engage the muscles of the hip in order to make this action happen. Awesome. And then the next time your knees come together, you're going to pause. And we're going to reverse that. So again, the legs are hovering, or the top leg is hovering. Draw the leg back behind you, squeeze your hamstring so your heel comes towards your butt. And then internally rotate the leg, so it's going to lift up towards the sky. Start to externally rotate the leg so the heel will come forward a little bit. And then draw the knee towards your chest. Awesome. Now repeat that 2 more times on your own. So the heel comes back, thigh bone goes back. Internally rotate the leg up to the sky. Externally rotate it so the heel comes down, knee comes up, and then draw the leg in front of you. One more time on your own, slow, controlled circle. Hi, Anne. And you're just going to notice how this is working. Nice job. The next time you come forward, go ahead and pause there. Lower the leg down. Roll to your other side. And you're just going to notice when you get to the other side what you happen to feel between the sides. Again, pillow or block or blanket underneath your head, knees stacked at a 90-degree angle. So Barbara, draw your knees up just a little bit. There we go. Flex through both feet. Draw your top hand underneath your waist and make sure you are not sinking there, but that stays lifted the whole time. Then plant the top hand in front of you for support or maybe on top of your leg. And then when you're ready, you'll lift your top leg a few inches away from the bottom leg. Start to flex the feet and then draw the knee towards your chest. Start to lift the knee up towards the sky, externally rotating. Don't roll back on that hip. Come forward, Sandy. And then internally rotate that thigh. So like a dog at a hydrant, and then draw the leg back behind you, squeeze your heel towards your glute. Fantastic. Then we'll make that a circle. So the knee comes forward again. You start to externally rotate the thighs, stay even on the hips, lift the under waist. Yep. Internally rotate the thigh, take the leg back behind you. Yep. Good job, Barbara. And then draw the leg forward one more time on your own. And again, you're just noticing what's happening. Okay, Laura, you can make yours a little smaller. I want you, yep, check in with your under waist. So make sure that stays lifted. So I won't see a crease in your top hip. So lift your under waist. Wait, pause, Laura, go back. Yep, keep your under waist lifted. There we go. Awesome. And then go ahead and reverse that. So after you've done 3 one direction, you're going to go ahead and switch 3 and go the other way. So the leg comes back first. Then you internally rotate the thigh. Then you externally rotate the thigh. And then you draw the leg forward for flexion. Aha, nice control there, Sandy. And then go back. And Patty, let's see. Go back. Internally rotate. Yep. Externally rotate. So heel comes forward a little bit more. Yep. And then draw the knee towards your chest. There we go. And then come down. Fantastic. All right. After you've done 3 by both sets, or both directions, you're going to pause. You're going to come back to the first side. Now, at this point, you are going to grab your strap, and I'm, of course, going to make this a little bit harder for you. So you're going to put your strap, if you have it, or your thera-band, if you have it, around the belly of your thighs. So it's going to go just above your knees, and then you're going to flex your knees and lay on your side once again. Okay, and then Laura, if you're tying that, make sure you tie it so it gives you a little bit of resistance there. Awesome. So now once you're back on your first side, our priority is that underwaist. So like you'll notice that if you're not lifting your underwaist, we've got this like nice little SC curve thing going on here. We don't want that. We want to see if we can engage our obliques on the underside so that you can actually feel them tone underneath you. The top hand comes to support, and then you're going to flex through both feet. Now this time you're going to lift your top leg up until you feel a lot of resistance for that strap. If you don't have a strap, no worries. You bring your top hand on top of your top thigh and you press against it. And then you're going to lower down. We're going to do 5 of these. And all we're trying to do is keep our under waist lifted. We're trying to engage our outer hips. So a lot of you might start to feel that around your sit bones, around your greater trochanter. We're just lifting and lowering the leg. Yep. Let's do 2 more. Okay. Now this next time we lift, we're going to make it a little harder. So if you're using your top hand, you're just going to press your top hand into your thigh. If you're using the strap or the band, you're going to just push into the band. We're going to leave our leg at this height and see if you can externally rotate the thigh so your heels now come towards, or rather top heel comes towards the bottom heel, and then you come back up. And you're going to do 5 of these. And ideally, the thigh doesn't move in space. It's just externally rotating. And suddenly you're going to feel your piriformis muscles and all those deep rotator muscles at the base of your hips start to come online. Now, those of you that actually like to run, I'm not a person that likes to run, this is a good thing for you to do so that you are good with your running. The whole first series of conditioning that we're going to do, I learned from a dancer, and she's a runner, and these are all things that she does to run. So we're stabilizing our pelvis. All right, this is our last one. Next time your heel comes down, you're going to lift it back up and you're going to hold for 3. You're going to hold for 2. You're going to hold for 1. Lower down. Notice if your butt starts burning and go ahead and switch to the other side. All right. Once we find ourselves on the other side, again, 90-degree angle at the hips, flex through your feet. Pay attention to your under waist. We really want to feel our obliques engaged, and I actually feel the rest of my abdominal core work good too. So we'll go ahead and do that. And then maybe top hand comes to top thigh, and you'll go ahead and lift and lower 5 times with resistance. And again, we're just paying attention to that under waist, making sure that it's not collapsing into the floor. Ooh, wow. I feel my hip already quite a bit. It's a lot of little burn. Hooray, we got 2 more. I hope you're breathing. Okay. The next time you lift your leg, pause there. We want to again apply a bit of pressure with our top hand. Keep your thigh exactly as it is in space and externally rotate the thighs so your top heel comes towards your bottom heel like Mary Poppins. Ooh, there we go. And we're going to do 5 of those. And so keeping the thigh as it is in space, externally rotating from the top of the hip, and you'll feel the muscles around your butt, the piriformis, the deep 6 rotators that exist around, ooh, growl, that's fun, around the top of your hips. You're going to start to feel those. Hooray. Got 2 more. Hooray. Okay, this last one, go ahead and hold, and we'll hold for 3. We'll hold for 2. We'll hold for 1. Go ahead and lower down. Make your way onto your back. If you still have that strap or that band, go ahead and slide it so it's across the balls of your feet, like little Barbie dolls. If you do not have a strap, no worries. Barbara, yeah, that will work very well. You can use your strap like that. So we're going to use our band around our feet. If you do not have a strap or a band, no worries. And then you'll find yourself on your back. Yeah, and Laura, if you're going to use that, make sure it's a loop. So tie a loop with it. Yeah. Does it have a knot? Okay, yeah, tie a little knot in it. And then find yourself on your back, bend your knees at a 90-degree angle. And the strap is across the ball of your feet. So Sandy, pull yours up a little bit closer to your toes. And Barbara, we're going to see how this one goes for you. I think you can do it like that. If you find that strap is not working for you, you can let go of it. From here, Patrick, lift your heels in line with your knees. From here, there we go. We're going to flex through our feet and push out into that strap, push out into that band that you've got. And then I want you to check in with the weight in your pelvis. Make sure it's not a cat back. Make sure it's not a cow back, but you're evenly rested on your pelvis. And you're going to keep your feet about hip distance apart for you. Now, on your next in-breath, go ahead and send your right foot far and away from you and draw your left knee closer to your chest. Yep. And then as you exhale, draw the knees back to center and inhale, switch sides. So you're resisting as you draw the foot away and then you're coming in. And you're going to do 4 more of these on your own. And you're just noticing we're starting to wake up your hip flexors, especially those of you that have the band or any type of resistance on the front. And if you don't have a band, no worries. Push away as though you're going through mud, so there's resistance, and keep drawing the opposite leg towards you as though there's mud, so there's resistance. There we go. Awesome. All right, the next time you come back to center, go ahead and pause there. Some of you will stay exactly as you are. Some of you will wrap your hands around the back of your head. You'll point your elbows up towards the sky. You'll curl your chin and chest up and away from the floor. You'll hug your front ribs into your back body, and then you'll inhale and send your right foot forward and draw your left knee closer to your chest. Yep. And you'll do 4 sets of these. And you'll notice that that resistance band, if you're using it, has made this a lot harder. However, you can always choose to let go of that strap at any point in time you would like. Yep. And then if you have your head in your hands, your elbows are pointing straight up to the sky. And then notice if you can lift the backs of your shoulder blades up. There you go, Sandy, up and away from the floor. And after you've done a total of 4, Laura, keep your feet hip distance apart. Ha-ha, there you go. After you've done 4, you'll go ahead and release. There we go, Laura. There we go, Laura. Yep. And then we'll go ahead and release, and we'll find ourselves moving on to our next hip thing. So go ahead and plant both feet on the floor, remove that strap or band if you're using it. And now keep your feet glued together. So the inner edges of the feet are touching. Now widen your knees about, 5 to 6 inches, maybe more, depending upon how it feels for you. Bring your hands alongside your hips. And Barbara, you might widen your knees a little bit more, but we'll see how this goes. On your next in-breath, you're going to push through your feet and lift your hips. Awesome. Now, once your hips are lifted, you'll notice because our legs are externally rotated, we're not as in as much extension of the spine as we normally would be in bridge, which is fantastic because I'm going to make you work your adductors and your hamstrings. So slower than you think is possible, draw your legs towards each other. So draw your knees towards each other, slower than you think is possible. And you'll start to feel those muscles on the inner edges of your legs start to fire. And then when you get to your end range of motion, meaning your legs are actually touching, you'll surprisingly feel your glutes. And then when you get to that end range of motion, you'll keep pushing your knees into each other. You'll give a little happy hug to the backs of your glutes, and then you'll lower your pelvis back down. Aha, good job, people. And then we're going to do that again. Open your knees, press through the feet, lift your hips. Once your hips are at their extension point, slower than you want to, draw your legs towards each other. A little slower, Laura. Draw them towards each other. Feel the inner edges of the muscles of the thighs start to work, the backs of your happy glutes. And then once they touch, squeeze for 3, squeeze for 2, squeeze for 1, lower down. And we'll do that 2 more times on your own. Now you'll notice that the wider you move your knees, that changes things. Keep the soles of the feet on the floor though. And then the slower that you draw your legs together, that allows the muscle fibers to engage. And then once you get to that final end range, especially those of you that like to run or walk, or we sit a lot, you'll notice that this is engaging all these muscles. Muscle, 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 muscle. Fantastic. And then go ahead and lower down. Last time, open the knees, press through the feet, lift your hips, and then slower than you want to, suck your legs towards your midline. At the apex of that, squeeze the backs of your legs, hug your inner knees towards each other, and then slowly lower down. Fantastic. From here, let's go ahead and separate our feet hip distance apart. And just notice how this feels. We're going to do a standard, well, nothing about this sequence is standard. Go ahead and flex your feet. Yep. Now, hands alongside your hips. With feet flexed, push down through your heels, lift your hips. And notice how much higher you got your pelvis. Now, because you flexed your feet, I want you to push your heels down and forward. Yep. And as though you were going to slide your heels forward, you're not going to. You're going to feel the backs of the legs engage. And then on your next exhale, lower all the way down. Very slowly push your heels away from you to straighten your legs. So they'll slide against the carpet or the floor until they're straight. And you'll feel that awkwardness and that resistance. Once the legs get to straight, you'll bend the knees and drag them back. So drag the heels right back. Nice, Sandy. And then push down through your heels, lift your hips once again. So flexing through the feet. Yep. Push the heels away from you isometrically so you feel the backs of your legs. And then go ahead and lower the hips back down. Slide your legs away from you, straighten your legs. And then bend your knees and draw them back. And you've just got one more like this. And so we're flexing through the feet, we're lifting our hips. And you're just noticing what this feels like. So we're taking a trip around the hip, as Christina Sell would say it, but we're in particular really focusing on strengthening these muscles today more so than stretching them, which is typically what I like to encourage you guys to do, but we're just going to see how it feels. And if you feel any cramping, that's okay. We're trying to get the muscles to start to work. Last one. All right, so this one is going to be a little bit different. Let's all come back to our backs. Draw your right knee into your chest. Don't hold on to your right leg. You're just going to flex through that right foot, and you're going to flex through your hips, flex through your left foot. That's the heel on the floor. Ah, single leg. Push down through that left heel, lift your hips up. Oh, yay! And then you'll slowly lower down. Keep the right knee as it is. Slide your left leg forward and away from you. Yep. And then slowly bend the leg and bring it back. And you'll do that one more time. And so the single leg is notoriously harder. You'll notice, or maybe you might notice, I noticed, I had a drastic difference between my sides. One leg was so much stronger than the other one. And that's okay. It's probably my happier leg is the one that I use a little bit more. Awesome. After you've done a total of 3 sets on your own. You're going to pause and then you'll switch sides. We'll take a little stretch after we've done both sides equally so you notice what it feels like. So now this time the left knee comes into the chest, the right foot flexes, you push down into the heel, you lift your hips, and then you lower the hips back down and you slide that opposite leg long. And we're trying to see if we can keep our leg up towards our chest without using our arms so that we're using our hip flexor muscles. Those are the muscles in the hips that we're trying to stretch. They're the ones that we, I don't know, spend a lot of time sitting in, but they're not necessarily strong. Nice control there, Barbara. Yep, there you go, Laura. Slow down, Laura. There you go. Awesome. After you've done a total of 3 sets each side, you can go ahead and take whichever stretch will feel best to you. Some of you will just draw one knee into your chest and extend that leg long. Some of you might send the opposite leg up towards the sky for a little bit of a hamstring stretch. You choose based upon what feels best to you. And you just notice what it feels like. I notice that when I do a little bit more strength training, stretching feels a whole heck of a lot better afterwards. All right, switch sides if you haven't already. Awesome. And then when you're ready, you're going to make your way over to hands and knees, and you're going to make your way to your hand to downward facing dog, where you can actually feel a proper hamstring stretch and feel what that feels like. You'll now have resistance coming back from the floor. You might slowly, and by this, I mean really slowly, bend one knee at a time and just feel what that feels like to stretch the back of that calf, the back of that hamstring, and then switch sides. Okay. And then slowly you'll find yourself into a neutral downward facing dog and just feel what that feels like. And then as you're ready, walk your feet towards your face, find your forward fold. Notice what that feels like as well. Paying attention to how you can slightly externally rotate the tops of your hips and how that impacts what's happening in the connection of the legs to the feet to the floor. And then when you're ready, you'll go ahead and inhale, halfway lift. Bring your hands to your hips, draw your spine out of your pelvis, crown out of your spine. There we go. And then come all the way up to stand. All right, we've got 2 more things to do. And Sandy, you got 5 minutes, so you see how much of this you want to do. Cool. So if you are on a slippery type of carpet, this works great. If you're not, no worries. We're going to simulate this. You're going to bring your hands onto your hips. You're going to bend your knees, and we're going to imagine, well, you're not going to imagine, you're going to slide your left foot out to the left, and then you're going to slide that left foot back into the midline. And you're going to do about 4 more of these. And we want to make sure that our toes stay in the same line with each other. So my left toes are in line with my right toes. I can push down into the carpet or the floor as much as I want to, and that's going to create more resistance, and you'll feel that on your inner thighs as you suck your legs back together. And so ideally, you want to make sure your foot stays in contact with the floor the whole time. So we're doing a couple of things. We're engaging our adductors. We're also doing a single leg squat. Cool. Let's go ahead and try the other side. And so again, you just slide the leg out. I'm going to come forward so I don't hit my mat. And then slide the leg back. And if we were on a slippery surface, you could go a lot further, but we're mostly on carpet, most of us. So we're just going to do it this way. We're just noticing all those muscles, especially on your supporting leg. These are the ones that we woke up a little bit early, and you'll start to really feel them. Awesome sauce. All right. Done with that. Go ahead and grab your blocks. And the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to bring our blocks behind us and stack them right on top of each other. And then we're going to separate our feet about 3 feet apart. You're going to bring your hands on your hips. And we're going to just take a couple of pliés, as we would call them in dance class. So you're just going to bend and straighten your legs. Bend and straighten your legs. Do, 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 do. Yep. Okay. Awesome. Since we've done a few of those to warm up, I encourage you to walk your feet in a little bit and sit your butt on your block or blocks. Cool. This is a choose your own adventure. Some of you might put your strap on your legs and bring it above your knees. Some of you will be like, Jessica, that's too tight. I don't want to do that. And so you might have your longer thera-band and you might tie it around your thighs. And some of you are like, Jessica, I don't have a thera-band or a thera strap or whatever the heck thing's called, and that's no worries either. So if you don't have a strap, you can just imagine that you have a strap. Cool. Now we're going to be here, and I want you to externally rotate your thighs and make sure your toes point over your knees. And Sandy, that looks like that might be a narrow position for you, but you choose that and see how that goes. And then we're going to bring our hands to our heart center. Now you're going to start to shift your weight forward and see if you can hover your butt an inch away from your block. And you'll notice that you have to squeeze your outer hips. You'll have to push out into that strap. And then we're going to come up 1 more inch. Yep, and you're just pushing out into that strap. And then you're going to come up 1 more inch. Yep, and then you're going to come all the way to stand. Awesome sauce. And of course, if we came up, I'm going to make you go back down. So you're going to start to bend your knees. And we're going to start to bend our knees. And then we're going to bend our knees even more. We're going to push out into that strap. Or if you don't have a strap, you're just externally rotating your legs. And we're going to get to that spot where we can hover our butt away from our block. And then you're going to put your butt back on your block. Aha! Yep, and of course, I'm going to make you do that again. So we're going to come forward. We're going to hover an inch. This is our last time. Squeeze out into your strap. Push out into your strap. Slowly come up. Push out into your strap. 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 Come all the way up to stand. Fantastic. And then go back down. Do 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 do. Now this time, when you get to about an inch above your block, you're going to hover for 3. You're going to hover for 2. You're going to hover for 1. Put your butt down. All right, we're done. No more of that. Go ahead and stand up. Take a little walk around your space. I want you to pay attention to what's happening in your hips, how they feel. And last foot thing, Sandy, it's 8:30. Cool. Very last foot thing. So take your strap if you've got it. Oh, mine's a knot now. And unroll it. This one you can use a yoga strap or a yoga belt. So Barbara, that one will work fine if you don't have a thera-band. And Patrick, if you don't have a thera-band or a strap, do you have a bath towel? Have a safe travel, Sandy. We are going to take this much, oh, you're still here, this much of our thera-band strap or this much of your yoga strap, and you're going to put it only under the ball of your big toe mound and then hold it in the opposite hand. Now, the thing to keep in mind with this is because this is a thera-band, if I don't hold it, it's going to snap at me. So we want to make sure we're pushing down into our big toe mound, okay? And this, especially for runners, but also for those of us that walk, is really important to make sure that we're getting enough pressure into our big toe mound when we walk or when we run. Okay, so we're going to put it, I guess hypothetically, we'll all say we're on our right foot. And you've got that strap if you're using a strap. You've got your thera-band if you're using that, and you're like pulling up in opposition. You have to push down with your right foot, and then we're going to step forward and confidently into space and come to the ball of our back toe. Now, provided you're pushing into the ball of your back foot, the strap will not go anywhere. But if for some reason I let go, it can go. So you're going to do 4 of those on your own, just making sure that we keep the pressure and it's not under your big toe, it's only under the ball of the big toe, and coming forward and back. And as you come forward and back, it is a precarious type of thing. I want you to notice what's happening on your supporting leg. So make sure you squeeze your glute as you press to the ball of that back foot. Do-do-do. And this is just helping with the extension of your stride. Do-do-do. Last one. Okay. All right, when you're ready, switch sides. So again, the strap is folded, or the TheraBand is folded under, so that it's only under the ball of your big toe mound. If you're using a yoga strap, you just put the yoga strap under the ball of your big toe mound. You hold it in your opposite hand. And then we're going to step confidently forward with our right foot. Keep pressing into the ball of your left big toe. And you go back and forth about 4 or 5 times. And you have the capacity to make this harder by pulling up more on the strap. It just requires that the supporting leg, so that's our left foot in this instance, really has to drive down. There we go. We'll say this is our last one. Yay! Okay. All right. We are done with that. You can put that aside. Awesome. Now at this point, we're going to move into our regular scheduled program, and I want you to notice if you feel a difference. We did a lot of conditioning things for our pelvis and our hips, and we'll see how that feels in standard poses. So take both of your blocks and put them towards the top of your space. Fantastic. And then once you find yourself at the top of your space, the big invitation first is just to allow yourself to close the eyes, soften the gaze. Notice what you notice happening in your legs. Notice what you notice happening in your feet. Notice how the feet can connect to the floor. And then that sends a message back up through your legs. That sends a message up into your pelvis. That goes up into the spine, the shoulders, the neck. On your next in-breath, start to reach your arms out and up and overhead, and you'll just take 2 to 3 breath cycles here. And again, you're pushing down evenly through both feet. You're reaching up through both sets of fingertips. You're lengthening through the tailbone, the pubic bone. On your next exhale, you'll start to bend your knees and sit your butt down for Utkatasana, chair pose. And you'll notice how this feels. So again, what's happening in your legs? How do you feel those outer hip muscles working? How can you lengthen up through your pinky fingers? And what does that do to your chest? How is the breath working here and now? On your next exhale, go ahead and fold forward at your hips. Hands come to floor or blocks, whichever works best for you. And you'll find yourself in your forward fold. Once you're here, notice if you can let your head be a little bit heavier. On your next exhale, bend both of your knees, bring your hands to your blocks, step your right leg long and back, and we'll find ourselves in that position that we visited a while ago on our back. So we're in that low lunge position. Really reach back through your right heel, push down through your left heel, and then see if you can lift your spine so you're in one long line from your heel to your head. Nice. On your next exhale, lower your right knee to the mat. And then bring your hands to your hips and your spine up to vertical. From here, you can stay right here and just breathe for the next couple of breath cycles. You might choose to bring your hands to your low back and interlace your fingers. If you take that option, you draw the elbows towards each other. You lift your sternum, you lift your chest, and you just continue to notice what's happening in the breath, what stretch you might feel along the front of your right thigh. Some of you will stay here happy as a clam. Some of you will release your arms out and up and overhead and take 3 more breath cycles here in Anjaneyasana with arms high. And again, you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice happening. Awesome. Next exhale, hands come down to the floor or blocks. From here, slide your left hand to your left hip, or left thigh rather. Start to push down into your left foot, push down into your right foot, and scoop your belly to the left as you roll your chest to the left. Now, some of you will stay here. Some of you will curl the back toes under and lift the back leg long. So you're in this long, low lunge with the back leg straight. Happy to stay here. Or you might reach your left arm up towards the sky and you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Can you let the heart open, the shoulder blades engage on the back, and the head lean back? Nice work. Next, inhale. Go ahead and lower your left hand to the floor. Step yourself back to downward facing dog, and then just notice what you notice in the body. Notice what you notice happening in the breath. Nice work. Next, in breath, step your right leg forward between your hands. Bring your hands to your blocks. Awesome. So now we're in a low lunge with the right leg forward. Again, we want to see if we can lengthen back through our left heel and then lengthen forward through the crown of our head. So we're in one long, long line. Nice job. On your next exhale, go ahead and lower your back knee to the mat. And then bring your hands to your hips. And again, option to stay right here. Couple of breaths here. Otherwise, bring hands to low back. Interlace awkward opposite interlace. Draw the elbows together. Reach the hands back, lift the chest up, and take a couple of breaths here. And you just pause and you breathe and you notice what you notice. Happy to stay there. When you're ready, release the hands, extend them out and up and overhead. And again, 3 breath cycles here, Anjaneyasana with arms high. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. The end of your third exhale, hands come back down to the floor or the blocks. Your right hand comes to your right outer hip. You push down into the left hand. You scoop the right low belly away from the right thigh and rotate your chest to the right. Some of you may extend the back leg long, so curl the toes under and lift the left leg away from the floor. And you might stay there, happy as a clam. You might reach your right arm up towards the sky for a low lunge twist. And you just pause and you breathe. Nice work. On your next in-breath, go ahead and lower the right hand to the floor. Bring your hands to the blocks. This is going to be fun. Step your back foot to the top of your space. Awesome. Once you find yourself at the top of your space, again, feet hip distance apart. Inhale, halfway lift. This time I want you to push your fingertips into your shins. Press your shins back into your fingertips. Send your sternum forward, the center of your skull forward, and the top of your pubic bone back. Now from here, go ahead and bring your hands to your hips. Bend your knees. Sweep your chest up, then reach your arms forward for Utkatasana, chair pose. And again, we pause and we breathe for 3 breaths. The end of your third exhalation, you'll stand up, you'll reach up, you'll look up again. Notice the length in the legs, stretch through the arms, and then exhale, open the arms alongside your hips. Take a moment to just notice what you notice. And then we're going to add on. Inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Take a complete breath cycle here. So that's an inhale, followed by an exhale. Then you'll inhale again. On your next exhale, start to bend your knees. And then inhale, sit for Utkatasana, chair pose. And you just pause and you breathe. And you pause and you breathe. Next exhalation, fold forward at your hips. Hands come to floor or blocks. Great. From here, inhale, halfway lift. This time, we're going to bend both knees and step our left foot back first. Great. Now spin your left foot to the floor for warrior 1. You might want to walk your blocks back just a little bit so they're underneath your shoulders. And then pushing through the legs, draw your hands to your hips, draw your spine up to vertical. Cool. So we're in warrior 1 legs. So we're externally rotating that back leg. We're pushing the back heel into the floor. We're bending into the front knee. Now, some of you will stay here. Again, some of you want to place your hands at your low back. You'll draw your shoulders up towards your ears, your shoulder blades down together, and your hands down towards your back foot. And you might just stay here, happy little chest stretch. Fantastic. When you're ready, you'll release your arms out and up and overhead for Virabhadrasana 1, warrior 1. And again, we're still bending into that front leg. Nice job. On your next exhale, we're going to cactus our elbows and draw our elbows towards our waist and lift our chest. And then you'll inhale and straighten your arms once again. And you got two more of those. So we're just bending and straightening the elbows. And you're noticing what that's doing to your shoulder girdle. You're noticing what that's doing to your breath. Nice work. All right. The next time your arms are high, go ahead and leave them there. Straighten your front leg long. And then as you exhale, we're going to hinge forward at the hips. Arms will come forward down to blocks or floor. You'll pause there with your spine parallel-ish to the floor. Now, some of you will walk your blocks back and turn them up to their highest setting, and you'll stay there and you'll breathe. Some of you will want to reach your heart forward and maybe down towards your bottom shin. But you just take a couple of breaths here and you notice what's happening in your body, what's happening in your breath. Fantastic. Next in-breath, go ahead and bend your front knee, plant your palms on your mat, step yourself back to downward facing dog, happy down dog. And you just notice what you notice here. Awesome sauce. Next in-breath, lift your right leg up and back. Bend your right knee, open and stack your right hip, and just feel what that feels like to find a down dog, L or down dog at a hydrant or whatever we want to call this, three-legged dog. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lower that leg back down and you'll try the other side. So left leg lifts, bend the left knee, open and stack the left hip, and just feel what that feels like. Nice containment there, Barbara. And then when you're ready, go ahead and lower that leg back down. Everybody's fun pose. Let's come forward into plank pose, falling Asana. You'll take 3 breath cycles here, and you're going to just push the hands down. You're going to lift up through the low belly, and I want you to squeeze your glutes. Happy little butt cheeks squeeze towards each other just a little bit. Reach your heart and sternum forward, and then when you're ready, you either lower knees, chest, and chin down, or just lower all the way down through chaturanga, your choice. Once you find yourself on your belly, go ahead and extend the tops of your feet onto the mat. Start to pull, or rather push your hands down isometrically. Pull your sternum forward to lift your ears in line with your shoulders. And then draw your shoulder blades onto your back. And some of you will lift up into cobra and happily stay there. Some of you might want to engage the backs of your legs and maybe lift your legs up away from the floor and find locust pose, but you choose and you breathe for 3. You're good, Barbara. You breathe for 2. You breathe and you lower down. Nice job. When you're ready, curl the toes under. Inhale through hands and knees. And exhale back to downward facing dog. All right, so this one we're going to try just using our hip flexors. So we're going to try not to lift our leg up. On your next exhalation, you're going to step your left foot between your hands. So see if you can just use the front of your hips to draw that foot forward. Fantastic. Then from here, go ahead and bring your hands onto your blocks. Step your right foot slightly to the right and turn it out for warrior 1 legs. And then once you feel established in your feet, you bring your hands to your hips. You bring your spine up to vertical. Nice control there, Sandy. And then once you're here again, maybe you stay here, maybe you interlace your hands at your low back. Fantastic. Again, shoulders come up towards the ears, shoulder blades onto our back body. Maybe you reach that one hand down to your back foot. And you pause and you breathe. When you're ready to extend the arms, you're going to release them and extend them out and up and overhead. And just take a couple of breath cycles here in Virabhadrasana 1, so arms high. Oh, you guys look very stable. And then when you're ready, go ahead and try our little elbows. So bending the elbows, cactusing the arms, and then re-straightening the arms. And you're doing that with your breath. So you exhale and bend the elbows and draw them down. You inhale and straighten them up. And it's just giving our mind the opportunity to re-engage, reconnect with our breath more deliberately so our body can feel a little bit more ease. All right, so our last one. The next time you inhale and your arms are high, go ahead and keep them there. Go ahead and straighten your front leg as you exhale, and then you're going to hinge at your hips. So you're going to send your butt back. Your hands are going to come forward and down to the floor or blocks underneath you. And you might notice if you need to walk your blocks back so they're directly underneath your shoulders. Some of you will stay here with your spine parallel-ish to the floor. Some of you will start to reach your chest towards your bottom shin. That's your left shin, and you just pause and you breathe, and you pause and you breathe. Fantastic. Next in-breath, go ahead and bend your front knee, and then giant step to the top of your space. Right foot meets the left. Awesome. Now, once you find yourself in forward fold at this point, just take a moment to notice what you notice. How are the feet connecting with the floor, the legs connecting with the hips? Here's again a choose your own adventure. You can bend your knees as much as you want to for this next thing. The straighter your legs are, the more work it is for your hamstrings. So you choose on your own. You're going to slowly roll up your spine bone. Oh, I got you, Patrick, bone by bone. So if your knees are bent, it makes it a little bit easier for your hamstrings. If your legs are straight, it's a lot more challenging. And your head will be the last thing to come up. You take your time, you feel the backs of your legs. And then when you get back up to vertical, when you finally make your way there, just take a moment to notice what it feels like to stand in your legs now, to breathe, to soften. Nice job, guys and gals. All right, go ahead and grab both of your blocks. So we're going to turn to face the long edge of our mat. We'll bring our blocks behind us on our highest setting, just so they're there if we need them. And then you're going to separate your feet about 3 to 4 feet apart. Cool. So we'll start by turning our right toes in, our left toes out. So that internal rotation of your right leg, external rotation of your left leg. And then we'll inhale and reach both of our arms up and overhead. And you'll notice that this is an awkward pose. So no worries there. I want you to push out into both of your feet and hug both of your feet in towards your midline as you reach up through your arms. And then on your next exhale, we're going to shift our pelvis to the right. Left arm comes to the floor, block or shin. Right arm goes up to the sky. Hooray, we made it. Fantastic. From here, you're going to bring your top hand, that's your right hand, to your hip. With your right hand on your hip, we can lightly push down into our right foot, which will create a length along our right side body. Some of you will stay here happy as a clam. You might turn your gaze directly along the horizon. You might turn your gaze up. You might turn your gaze down. It really depends on what's happening on your neck. Happy to stay here, happy as a clam. Otherwise, you're going to inhale and you're going to reach your right arm alongside your ears. And then you're going to exhale and bend the right elbow back towards your right waist. And you got 4 of these. So inhale, reach the right arm down towards the floor over the right ear. Exhale, bend the elbow back from the waist. Awesome. And you got 2 more on your own, and you're just pausing and you're breathing. And as you exhale, the belly also spins forward and under. So we're engaging a little bit of the core. We're stabilizing through our legs and we're stretching our side body. All right. The next time your right elbow's near your right waist, go ahead and extend the right arm up to the sky. Turn your gaze to the floor, bend your left knee, and come back up to vertical. Hooray! Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. If you need to wiggle walk your left foot in a little bit, fantastic. Go ahead and do that. And then you're going to turn your left toes in, your right toes out. Inhale, both arms up and over your head. Happy little weird star-shaped things. And again, you push out through both feet. You hug in through both feet. And then we're going to bump our pelvis to the left. The right arm comes to the floor. The left arm extends towards the sky. And again, we might just grab our block. Cool. And then once we find ourselves in Utthita Trikonasana, extended triangle pose, we might stay here. We might bring our left hand to our left hip. And you really can use your hand to push down into your thigh, or it feels sometimes like you're lengthening your hips, your ribs away from each other. And happy to stay here, happy as a clam, or next in-breath, you'll start to extend your left arm alongside your ears. And then you exhale and bend the elbow towards your waist. And you've got 4 of these. And we're just noticing, we're starting to elongate our side body. Are we breathing? Nice breath. All right. We'll say this is 4. Awesome. The next time you bend that left elbow towards the left hip, extend the left arm up towards the sky. Then turn your gaze to the right foot, bend your right knee, come back up to vertical. Straighten both legs long. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. Cool. Last thing, turn your right toes in, your right heel out, your left toes out. And then again, we're going to inhale, reach our arms up and over our head. Now this time we're going to bend our left knee and then open and splay our arms to warrior two as we take our gaze up over the middle finger of our left hand. Hooray. Some of you will stay right here. Happy to stay here. Some of you will lower your left forearm to the top of your left thigh, or maybe your left arm to, or rather left hand to your left block, and extend your right arm alongside your ears for Utthita Parsva Konasana, extended side angle. And you just take a couple of breaths here, and you might just choose to stay here happy as a clam. You might choose to do that elbow bending thing again. So you'll bend your right elbow, comes down, and then you inhale and extend the arm alongside your ears. We've just got 3 of these. And you're just noticing what this is doing. We're testing your balance to some extent, especially if you're not having your hand on the floor. And we're just noticing what's happening here. The next time your right arm is alongside your ear, you pause, you breathe, you turn your gaze down to the left foot, you cartwheel the arms up, you come back to warrior two. Go ahead and straighten your front leg along. Remove that block if it's in the way. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. And then we try the other side. So we turn the right toes out. We turn the left toes in. We reach our arms up in this awkward, fun position so they're above our ears. And then as you exhale, you bend the right knee and you open the arms as you look over the right middle finger. Now, happy to stay here, happy as a clam. Otherwise, you might lower your right forearm to the top of your right thigh, right hand comes to block or floor, and then your left arm alongside your ears for Utthita Parsva Konasana, extended side angle. And again, you can just stay here. You push down through the feet, you draw your right ribs under, left ribs up. Some of you might choose to take that elbow bending thing, and you'll do that 3 times. So you'll bend the left elbow, and then you'll inhale and straighten the right elbow. And you just pause and you breathe. And if you're moving the elbow, fantastic. If you're not, fantastic. As long as you're breathing, that's all that matters. Awesome sauce. After you've done 3 sets or 3 breath cycles, you'll turn your gaze to the right foot. You'll continue to bend into the front knee, cartwheel the arms up, warrior two. Remove your block if you used it. Turn both feet parallel to the short edges of your mat. And then go ahead and step your feet hip distance apart. Soften the gaze, close the eyes, and just notice what you notice. Let your arms drop if possible. And just notice what you notice. Nice work. All right. Last little containment thing. Separate your feet a little bit wider than your hips. Bend your knees. Bring your hands on tops of your thighs. And we're going to lock out our elbows, meaning they're just straight. And you can drop your head to the floor. That's totally fine. I want you to just pay attention to the breathing in your belly. So I learned this from this guy, Gary, this week as well. I thought this was a fantastic way of teaching Agnisaram. So the first thing I want you to do is just go ahead and inhale, and you'll breathe your belly down to the floor. And then you exhale and you feel the belly come back up to the spine. And you'll just do that 3 or 4 more times. So you feel your belly come to the floor, and then you exhale and the belly comes to the spine. Yeah, there you go, Barbara. And the more you become a little bit more comfortable with this, well, first of all, you can always just stay here and do this. This is fantastic. You don't have to do anything more. But if you feel like you have the capacity or it's interesting to you, you'll start to round your low back as you draw the belly to the spine. And then you'll find that you can start to arch the low back just a little bit as you let the belly drop down. So it feels almost like a cat and a cow happening here. Awesome. Now, if you're happy with either one of those, fantastic. Stay with those. If you would like to try a little bit more of Agnisara, the next time you start to scoop your organs away from the floor and you round your low back, you'll start to push into your feet. And then you'll inhale and you relax that and you'll come back more to that neutral spine. Yep. And then exhale. There you go, Barbara. Exhale and rounding it in. Pulling, pushing to the feet, pulling belly to spine. Yep. And then relax. Awesome. And you've just got 4 more of those, and it's very subtle, but we're starting to gain access to the energy that's supposed to live in our solar plexus, our Manipura chakra, as I say. You'll do 3 more on your own, and you'll notice that the more you do this, the more you become aware of the subtleties. So some people like to try to do a churning with it, meaning you can move your torso to like the right or to the left. So if you're just going straight up and down, that's totally great as well. Awesome. After your next one, you'll take a slow inhale. Go ahead and come to stand, soften the gaze, close the eyes, and just notice what you notice. We've done a lot of random things. We'll see how they feel in the body. All right. Standing at the top of your space, inhale, circle, sweep your arms up and overhead. Take 2 breath cycles here. So a complete inhale, followed by a complete exhale. Again, another inhale, followed by another exhale. Next in-breath, find a little bit more length. And then as you exhale, fold forward at your hips, Uttanasana, forward fold. Once you find yourself in that Uttanasana, forward fold, take a complete breath in, followed by a complete breath out. Nice work. When you're ready, you'll bend your knees, you'll plant your palms, you'll step yourself back to your downward facing dog. And again, you just take a complete breath cycle. Full breath in, full breath out. Next inhalation, go ahead and come forward into plank pose. Again, a full breath in, a full breath out. When you're ready, you lower through chaturanga into your up dog or cobra. And again, you just take a full breath in and a full breath out. When you're complete, you'll come through hands and knees or plank. You'll make your way back to downward facing dog. You'll take 3 breath cycles in down dog, and then you'll find yourself in child's pose. And so when you find yourself in child's pose, that can be in whatever way feels best to you. So maybe arms are forward, maybe arms are back, but you just take a couple of breath cycles there. Nice work. When you're ready, you'll find yourself to hands and knees, and then you'll make your way onto your backs. When you find yourself on the backs, we are starting to cool down. So if your body temperature drops quite a bit, I would encourage you to maybe put on a sweater or socks or something like that, or just make sure you've got a blanket somewhere nearby. And then you're going to just make your way on your back. First thing I want you to do when you find yourself on your back is just notice how the body feels. Your first task is always to listen to what messages your body is sending to you. And then I want you to choose how best to respond to those messages. So some of you might want to take a figure 4, some of you might want some supine twist, some of you might want to do a single leg stretch. You're going to just pay attention to what impulses your body is sending to you and to trust that. A lot of the things that we worked on our hips. Our hips are said from an energetic perspective, at least, to hold all of our emotions. And then we did a little bit of Agnisara, which is supposed to give us the awareness. It's our discerning section. It's where we digest things in our stomach, but it also gives us the ability to discern what's needed. And so when we can feel things, when we can discern them, when we can digest them, it gives us the capacity to actually act on them in a way that is beneficial to us long term. And so as you're continuing to explore what your body is telling you, if you've done something asymmetrically, I encourage you to visit the other side. And then once you feel complete, we are going to make our way to our Shavasana shape. Um, Shavasana, I should be using loosely. It could be Supta Baddha Konasana. It might be legs up the wall. You might actually want Shavasana, but you'll make your way to some resting pose that is symmetrical. And we're going to spend at least 7 minutes in the shape. So I want you to make sure you feel comfortable, meaning you feel supported in terms of props, meaning if your space is cold, you are warm. Nice job, Sandy. Nice job, Barbara. Those are nice accommodations. Good job, Patrick. Patrick, can you let your legs open a little bit more? Yep. And then the legs can just externally rotate there. Awesome. And Laura, I think you were legs up the wall, weren't you? Oh, okay. Awesome. When you find yourself in your final pose, the first thing I'd like you to do is just notice what you notice. We're spending a little bit more time in our Shavasana today because it gives us the time to settle down. Um, Almost like when you go past a river and there's dirt in the river because someone has gone through it, you have to give it time to settle so that you can see. And so we're just going to give ourselves some time to settle so that we can see. So the first couple of minutes that you're here, you might just notice physical sensations come up. You might notice that those then dissipate and then thoughts begin to arise. Throughout it all, I want you to imagine or remind yourself that you are patiently waiting for the dirt to settle in the stream. I'll leave you here with you for a couple of minutes, and I'll let you know when it's time to come out. Return your awareness to your breath. As you come back to your breath, just take a moment to check in. Notice if there's any part of you longing to linger in this shape. And if there is, by all means, please stay here. When you're ready, you'll allow movement to re-enter into your physical form in whatever way feels good to you. Those still on legs up the wall, you'll bend one knee at a time, plant the foot on the wall, and then make your way to one of your sides. If you're in Supta Baddha Konasana, you might draw the hands to the outer edges of the thighs as you close the legs together, and then roll to one of your sides. When you're on your side, you'll just take a couple of breaths. And then slowly, you'll roll your chest a little bit to the floor, press into your top hand, and draw yourself up to a vertical seat. When you are upright, I would encourage you to sit on something, whether it's a block, a blanket, a pillow, your feet, something so that the pelvis is a little bit lifted. And then plant your hands wherever is comfortable for you so that the chest can remain open, the heart can remain open. This week I found myself thinking about the following concept, this idea that a lot of times the part of us that feels like it's requiring our attention, maybe because it feels like it's hurt or it's just needing a bit of our attention. A lot of times, at least anatomically speaking, it seems that that comes from really needing to strengthen something. And I'm thinking that that probably applies to our emotional life as well, our mental life as well, that maybe we don't need to stretch as much. Maybe we need to strengthen, to solidify, to find our ground, our center. And then that will give us the capacity to more easily expand, to stretch, to push ourselves in other ways. But first by containing, first by drawing in, first by solidifying. So as you're in these final few breaths, whatever thing in your life may be causing you a little bit of stress or worry or anxiety or maybe just dis-ease, can we plant the seed of possibility that maybe instead of stretching yourself more to rise to the occasion, there might be certain metaphorical or literal muscles that need to be strengthened in order to better tackle that thing. We'll go ahead and take a moment to bring our hands to heart center, giving ourselves an internal prayer of gratitude for strengthening ourselves by coming to our mat today to practice. We'll go ahead and complete our practice with a collective breath, followed by a collective Om. Go ahead and exhale all the breath from your mouth. Take a big breath in. Audible breath out. Inhale for Om. Join if you'd like. Draw your thumbs to your third eye. May our thoughts be clear. Draw your thumbs to your lips. May our words be kind. And draw your thumbs to your heart center. May our hearts be open. The light, the breath, that strength within me honors and salutes the light, the breath, the strength within each of you. Namaste.